So
Yep.
I'll
Go.
ask.
You want me to sign while I'm doing it too? Or? Okay.
So the first question is, how has the deaf ministry been when you first entered church, or was it existent at all?
In 1972, I moved here from Washington State after graduating with a master's in deaf education. My wife drug me into a church, and there was already a deaf ministry there, led by a college student. And when I came in, the ministry was over there. It only had a small group of deaf and one or two interpreters. And now, because of my personality as a teacher only and not a preacher, not an evangelist, I do a lot of doctrine. And the people that come most of the time leave because I'm not a pastor, I'm a teacher. And those that stay are interested in the doctrine.
How do you feel about the deaf ministry in the church now, as far as?
Right now, the deaf, I think we had many deaf come to CLC, and many have been baptized. We had deaf church from 1990 to 2000. I had around 12, 13 regular people. Then things fell apart. I'm not as successful as a pastor, but a teacher. And those that are with me are into doctrine, studying and understanding. And I have, I'm with the Deaf International, and I travel to different states teaching. That's my thing, and I'm often called to different states to teach. So this is basically, I'm a teacher with a lot of heavy doctrine teaching, and that's why they call me to come and teach. Is more like my personality, teaching, learning, and not so much of the social. Go ahead. I teach to the understanding of the deaf, which is different from the hearing. I use their sign to take what the hearing people are teaching, and I convert it into sign language for them to understand.
How open do you think, like, fellow saints are, like, to this ministry? Like, it could be here at this church or other churches that you've experienced.
Here, because of my personality and the people that are assisting me, helping me, they're open. And Michaela Sable says of all of the UPC college, we're the only one that's deaf friendly. And because of being teaching, everybody knows this church, and everybody's open to deafness, because I've been here 40 years, and Curtis Nolan of the Rock Church, they're friendly there because of his personality. In many churches, the pastor, hearing pastor, kind of, you're the deaf, you just do your thing, and so forth, is kept small and not friendly.
What do you say to people, or what do you think when people ask things such as, did God mean for you to be born like this, or do you think this is a blessing or a curse?
In the Old Testament, it said God created the deaf. And so is the blessing or a curse? I've been successful in everywhere I go, and I love teaching. I'm continuing. I think it's a blessing and not a curse. And my wife said, if you were hearing, you would not be in the deaf ministry. You would not be in church.
How can you explain speaking in tongues to a deaf person?
When deaf people, kids grow up, I taught 38 years in Stockton Unified School District, from the elementary to middle school and high school. many of them know when they talk, and when they get to their 7th, 8th grade, when they talk, they sound funny. Shut it off. They're not going to use their voice. So how do I get them to speaking in tongues? Well, they have to cross this barrier. I'm going to look stupid, but really, if you want the Holy Ghost, you'll get it. You'll cross over. If you want it, you'll cross over. I forgot the question. Tell me again.
So you were a deaf pastor. Like, how was that? Can you explain more about that? And then, like,
okay, I was a deaf pastor when it all started when I was teaching. I was just teaching, and then we had 13, 14 deaf people come in every week, and we go to church. We have a few interpreters, and they said, "We want a church." And I said, back then I was clueless. I said, "Fine." And so I asked Kenneth Haney if I could be pastor. He said, "Yeah." So he gave me the ordained minister there. I don't know, so I just did it for them. I am not a pastor. I was close. I was doing it for them, but my heart wasn't in it. And later on, when it dissolved, they realized we had a deaf church, but I wasn't a good pastor. But when that deaf church resolved, I went back to teaching, and then I came again.
Have you been to a lot of, like, I'm gonna add this in, but have you been to like a lot of deaf churches or experienced a lot of deaf churches? Like,
I have been to different churches, and those that invite me have a deaf pastor that leads, and there's many different. Yes. It depends on the leader. The deaf depends on the leader, and especially if there's no interpreters, the deafness crashes. If they have the interpreter, it goes on. So the interpreter is the key to the deaf ministry.
what are your hopes for like the students that are learning sign language?
Betty Cleveland, one of the new interpreters in the deaf ministry, said, "Why don't you start teaching the college?" Well, I was already teaching the adult education in Stockton University School District, and I said, sure. And so at WABC, I started teaching there 2 years, and then I stopped because I went to Delta College that wanted me to start a sign language there. And then when I retired, President Brother Bishop came to me and proposed me to teach sign language. I said, forget it, And Buddy said, the sign language is a good addition to the college. Fine, so I got in, and I'm so glad he invited, and I got a great group. Of course, okay, interpreters are needed. And because this is the only deaf college that deaf-friendly, these people go out and be interpreters. As Curtis Nolan of the Rock Church says, the interpreters are the key. So get all these people interpret, and also been going for 35 years to have deaf students in the college, but we need interpreters. So it's coming all together at my amazing. You guys are blowing me away. Last
words.
Oh, last
My last word.
To everyone watching this, learning about
You're still
cultures.
watching me? Okay. Here's the last word. When I first took over the deaf ministry, it was given to me, and about a year later, when the deaf are almost nothing, I went to Kenneth Haney and explained the situation. He said 3 words to me, which kept me going. I have a problem. He says, just be faithful. So that I can do that. That's why I'm still here. Just be faithful.
Without words, we'll let our actions speak.